everybody, welcome to Catherine Sews. Thank you so much for joining me today. Do you want to know the fastest way to make your sewing look more professional? It's not a fancier sewing machine. All it is pressing. So today I'm going to show you loads of ways to get more out of your iron. I'll show you the tools you need, the tips, the tricks, the techniques that help you to really elevate your sewing. So if that sounds good to you, let's just get right into it with tip number 1, which is just about getting the right equipment. A steam iron is obviously essential. I actually prefer the ones that are not cordless. This is my Rowenta. I absolutely love it. For any of the tools that I talk about today, first of all, try your local stores. It's always best to support local, but if you're not in an area where these things are available, all of the links will be in the description. When you are buying an iron, you have to have steam. Not all irons have a steam button, so you're kind of just relying on the iron to decide when it wants to put out some steam, and really you need to have that in your control. So a steam button, most of them have a spray button too, and I'll talk in a little bit about what that's for and what the differences are. I like this one because it does have a large capacity in the water tank, so I don't have to fill it up all the time. You can definitely get fancier gravity-fed steam irons, and one of these days I would love to have that. But unless you're really serious about this, I think this Rowenta, or really any decent quality steam iron with that steam button, is going to do you just fine. The other piece of equipment that you definitely need, and we'll talk about some fancier equipment in a minute, but you definitely need an ironing board. If you are a quilter, quilters can get away with just pressing small pieces on a flat surface like a wool pressing pad. But when you're in garment construction, you really want an ironing board that has that pointy end so that you can put your garment over that pointy end and just press one layer of it at a time. So a good ironing board that's well padded, that's really key. If you find that you iron something on your ironing board and then you can see the imprint of the metal shapes in the ironing board, that's not great. Your ironing board might be okay, but you need a new padded surface on it. So really those are the first two things you need to get: your iron and your ironing board. So I've been using the words ironing and pressing. And so tip number 2 is to know the difference. Ironing is when you use your iron to get wrinkles out. Like if you're ironing a shirt or a tablecloth, you're moving the iron back and forth and it's smoothing out the fabric as you go. You're getting rid of wrinkles. Pressing is when you use your iron, heat, steam, and pressure to press in a crease, like when you're pressing your seams flat. So instead of sliding your iron back and forth, you lift it, place it down, press, heat, steam, and pressure, and then lift it again. When your garment is just in the construction process and not all the seams are finished, sliding your iron around too much can actually distort your seams. So really we just want to be pressing, and pressing is the term we use when we are setting in a crease. Tip number 3 is to test the heat first. Cotton and linen can really handle heat, and even to a certain degree, silk can handle heat, but synthetics often cannot. And you can actually melt your fabric using an iron that's too hot for a synthetic. And if you're not sure what your fabric is, then just test on a scrap of fabric or in a discreet, like the inside of a pocket. I have actually ruined garments because I thought something was linen and it turned out to be a very convincing synthetic linen. So just know your fiber content before you set that hot iron on it. And if you're not sure, check the label. If you don't have a label, then check it on a discrete area of the garment just in case. Tip number 4, and this one really does sound like a beginner's tip, and it is, but what I have seen beginners do when they're pressing a new seam that they just sewed is they place the iron down where the fabric is not smooth. And you definitely don't want to use the iron to set in an accidental crease. So when you're pressing, you'll be doing a lot of smoothing the fabric with your hands first, manipulating the fabric even with your hands, and then you set your iron down. Never ever set your iron down on fabric that's not smooth. Okay, so that leads me to tip number 5, which is the difference between the steam button and the spray button. We use steam to set in a crease, but we use the spray button to get rid of a crease that we don't want. So if a crease has been set with heat, steam, and pressure, it's actually kind of hard to get that crease out. And that's where the spray button comes in. You just give it a little spray, let it get moist, and then you iron it out. You can iron out that crease. So even if I'm ironing a shirt, I will sometimes just give some squirts with that spray button to kind of just moisten the shirt or whatever garment. And then those rumples and creases come out a lot more easily if they're dampened first. So the steam is to set a crease. The spray is to get rid of a crease that you don't want anymore. Tip number 6 is sort of the general rules. And that is the order of operations when we're sewing. You've probably heard to press as you go, and that's really so important. And so the order that we normally do things in is we sew, serge, or finish your seams in whatever way you prefer, press your seams, and then top stitch if you choose. So sew, serge, press, top stitch. That's kind of the natural order of things. Once you've sewn one seam, you definitely want to press it before you're going to cross that seam with another one. Let's say a side seam going into a waistband or an underarm seam meeting up with the body of the garment. You want to press one seam before you connect it to another part of the garment. And of course, you would never want to top stitch a seam unless it's been well pressed. Tip number 7 is that there's a direction that we tend to press things. Most seams we press toward the back. Side seams and shoulder seams, they generally get pressed toward the back, and that's just so the front looks more clean and smooth. And with darts, some darts are horizontal, like a bust dart, and some are vertical. So darts either press down if they're horizontal or toward the center if they're vertical. So seams go toward the back generally. Darts go toward the center or down. Tip number 8 is we don't actually press the direction first. We first of all just press the seam as we sewed it. So it's just laying flat on the ironing board just exactly as you sewed it. And that first press, what it does is it sets the thread into that seam. And if I were to then pull that thread out, you would see that that thread is now forming stitch shapes. Those shapes of the stitches got set right into that seam, and that helps everything lay nice and smooth. After we've pressed it flat, then you push it to the direction you want it to be. So normally it's toward the back, or if it's a lined garment or you're doing a different seam finish, maybe you want to open that seam flat or butterfly it. So you're pressing that seam open, and you'll find it'll press open more easily after it's had that first initial flat press. And both of those steps are done from the inside. We generally don't press the outside of a garment until those first 2 presses have been done. So it's flat first, then in the direction you want it to go, and then maybe from the outside. The outside can sometimes wait until the whole garment is finished, but those first 2 presses need to be done with each step. Tip number 9 is to use steam and then let it cool. If you don't use steam, you're not going to get as sharp of a press, as crisp of a press, and that's really what we're after. The steam helps relax the fibers in the fabric so that you can reshape it how you want, like having the bend or curve that you want to build in to get those nice flat seams. Just like if you ever curl your hair with the curling iron, you know that after that curl is set, you let it cool for a second. Right? If you run your fingers through it right away, that curl is going to be gone. So the same is with fabric. After you've pressed it, you let it cool in that shape, and that helps it to maintain that shape over a longer period of time. That leads me to tip number 10, which is using the right tools. There are tools that we can actually use to help that steam do its job. This is called a clapper, and what it does, after you've pressed that seam and you've got lots of good steam in there, you set this down on the steam and you just leave it for a few seconds, maybe a minute. And you can put more pressure on it. Remember, it's that heat, steam, and pressure that's going to give you that good press. So what that clapper is going to do is, first of all, it's going to trap the steam in there and let it stay a little bit longer, but then it's going to absorb the steam. And as that steam cools and dries with the help of the clapper, it gets set into that very crisp shape. This works beautifully on wool, linen, denim, and really most natural fibers. Generally on synthetics, we're not going for a crisp press. Synthetics tend to be more silky and drapey. We don't generally go for crisp with synthetics. Another really important pressing tool is a tailor's ham. And now I didn't have one of these for years, so I will show you a tip of how to get away with not having one, but they are wonderful to have. When you sew things that create shape in a garment, whether it's darts, gathers, things like that. You don't want to press those flat. You would be, first of all, setting in accidental creases, but you're also working against what you're trying to achieve. Instead of keeping a nice three-dimensional shape, you're squishing it flat, which is the opposite of what you're trying to do. So with a tailor's ham, you find a place on it where your dart or the curve you've built in fits that tailor's ham, and then you can press it, you can press your dart, maintaining that three-dimensional quality. This is another pressing tool that I just love. This is a point presser. Can you see that comes to a point here? Imagine you've sewn 3 sides of a collar, pressing that top seam. It's really nice if you can press that open and flat first before you turn your collar. And the best way to do it is with a point presser. You put your collar right on there, and that gives you a beautiful surface to press that seam open and flat. This one doubles as a clapper as well, so that's sort of a 2-in-1. And then one other pressing tool is a pressing cloth. If you've got a fabric that you are a little bit afraid of damaging, then putting a pressing cloth on top of it can help protect the fabric. This is just a lightweight batiste. It's like a thin cotton. Even nicer is something like a silk organza that you can actually kind of see through. That's my favorite kind of pressing cloth. You don't want anything with a color, because sometimes that color can get transferred with the use of steam. And sometimes, let's say you're ironing a shirt, you can just dampen your pressing cloth, put that over the shirt, making sure it's all smooth, and press, and that gives you a beautifully ironed shirt as well. Another thing it can do is if you're pressing something like woolen trousers or a wool jacket, wool can get scorched. It can leave shine marks. Even though wool responds really well to steam, and we use steam a lot when we're working with wool, it can become shiny with a lot of pressing. So a pressing cloth on top of it helps. Also, steam in the iron is really important. When you're pressing or ironing wool, if you do it with a dry iron, you're more likely to get that shine. So steam in your iron and a pressing cloth is great for that. So tip number 11 is if you don't have a pressing ham, how can you press your darts flat? Remember, darts go toward the center or down, but you can actually press them on your ironing board. So what I used to do before I had my pressing ham is I would just use the pointy end of the ironing board. The area of the dart can lay on the ironing board and the rest of the garment is hanging down, and I can press my dart that way, no problem at all. You're not in danger there of squashing down the shape that that dart is building in. Tip number 12, I just call pushing the ridge. I don't know, when I see beginners sew a seam and then press it, when they press it from the inside and then they look at the outside, sometimes they've pressed in a little ridge beside that seam, and it can not look great. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look professional. So once you've done those first 2 presses from the inside, flat and then in the direction you want, then check it from the outside. And if you do see that little ridge, use the edge of the iron to push that ridge flat. It'll give you a much nicer press and it'll look a lot more professional. Tip number 13 is that you can actually use your iron to help you ease in shapes. So sometimes when you're sewing, you've got a sleeve, and usually the sleeve head is bigger than the armhole that it's going into. It has to ease in like that. And steam is a miracle worker for that. It's especially effective with natural fibers, especially wool. Wool and steam love each other. And you can use your iron to just help you get that eased in shape and make it stay. If your seam looks wiggly at first, check it for puckers. Make sure you don't actually have wiggles sewn right in, but if it's sewn properly, that wiggly seam will just get eased out nicely with the steam. You don't want to push against those wiggles. You don't want to squish them. You just want to use your steam to kind of gently pat them down a little bit at a time. And then as they lay flatter and flatter, then you can give a good press. Tip number 14 is to use the nose of the iron strategically. When you're doing something like gathering, you don't want to flatten out the gathers. It really can look kind of cheap, really. It looks like it just came out of a cardboard box from overseas if those gathers are pressed flat and squished. Instead of pressing the gathers flat, just wiggle the nose of the iron in amongst the gathers and it'll look so much nicer. You can just shoot seam at the rest of it, and that'll just be so much prettier on your gathered seam. There's lots of little places where the nose of that iron can just get you to wiggle into small parts. So if you make good use of that, it really is a helpful part of the iron. Tip number 15 is, again with that steam button. When you're ironing on interfacing, have you ever ironed on interfacing and then you wash it once or twice and the interfacing shrinks, causing the fabric that it was ironed to bubble, right? You get little bubbles. It's super annoying. There's not a ton you can do about it once those bubbles are set in, especially if it's an enclosed area like a collar. You can't get in there and fix that interfacing. So my best tip for that is to just blast it with some steam. Don't touch the iron to that interfacing till you've given it a few shots of steam. Let it do any shrinking it wants to do, and then put your iron to that interfacing. And again, with interfacing, you're not sliding the iron back and forth. It's just press, hold, count for a few seconds, and then move it along and press. Tip number 16 is to keep your iron clean. If you do have some tragedy where you have melted fabric with your iron, there is going to be a big, nasty black spot of melted plastic basically on the bottom of your iron, and then every time you use it after, that black is going to get onto your project. So you really do need to keep the plate of your iron clean. So I use a Rowenta iron cleaner. I've got some smudges right here that I need to clean up. I'm going to use my Rowenta hot iron cleaner. There are other brands of hot iron cleaners on the market. I'll link the Rowenta and another brand in the description, but that is my favorite, the hot iron cleaner. You get your iron hot and then you drag that hot iron over a cleaning surface. Sometimes I've just used fabric that's scrunched up, and those little scrunches can help to pull that gunk off the bottom of the iron. So my iron is pretty clean right now, but I can at least demonstrate cleaning because you can see there is a little bit of muck right in here. It might be hard to see on camera, but there is a little bit of maybe staining right in that area. So I'm going to try to clean that up. The Rowenta system though comes with 2 cloths and this little tube. You definitely need your iron to be hot, and I've got the cleaning cloth folded in half and just like about a 2-inch 5-centimeter line of the cleaner. And then I'm just going to rub that soiled part on the cleaner. That actually is great. That worked really, really well. It's gone. And you can see a little bit of black came off on the cloth. And then now to make sure that the iron is clean, you go over on the polishing cloth. And there you go. That is super clean. That's great. So keeping your iron clean means you're keeping your project clean. And then my last tip is when I don't use an iron. I hardly ever iron a finished garment. In fact, every day when I get dressed, I almost always use a handheld steamer. I absolutely love this thing. It's also Rowenta, but there are other brands, but I will link to this one because I absolutely love it. It's got a well for water like that. You just put water in there, click it on, it's ready really quickly, and then you just steam your clothes. It's so much easier and faster. And if I've already built those nice crisp creases into the garment, really I'm just getting rid of the rumples, and this is the way to go. I literally use this almost every day. So if you start pressing like this while you sew, you're gonna be amazed at the difference it makes in how professional your garments look. It really is one of those small, simple habits that makes the world a difference. So I hope you found that helpful. Thank you so much for being with me today. And until next time on Catherine Sews, you take care.